You're with the Breaker-Leggers, and we are on London's South Bank at the National Theatre
to see the play John.
So, stay tuned to find out how many legs.
Whether it's break a leg or leg it. If you want to know what to see in London's West End or theatres up and down the country, then hit subscribe now. We'll cover everything from drama to comedy, from musicals to some really interesting, quite intense and quite long pieces, a bit like this one that we're seeing tonight.
Now, although the title, John, is very short, this piece is actually 3 hours and 20 minutes, comprising of 3 acts.
Yes, there are 2 intervals, and we're only going to catch you in one of them because the other one is only an 8-minute interlude, so we probably won't come out.
We won't have time.
Yeah, we're just
probably
not
nip into the loo,
time.
and that's it.
Yes.
So John is written by Annie Baker, who also wrote the Pulitzer Prize-nominated The Flick, which ran here at the Dorfman Space in 2016 to a sellout run.
Yeah, we loved it as well. We thought it was a really interesting piece. Annie's style is to take an everyday situation and to just capture it in a script, and that includes the things that don't happen as well as the things
silences
that do, which is a really unique style and something that Annie has become quite renowned for, and it's great to see her work getting another staging here at the National, who are always daring. They're always willing to take a chance on things.
Yeah, the Dorfman Space is really nice, it's really intimate. For this one, we're right in the front row, so really excited. Director is James Macdonald, who also did last year Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, which we loved.
Yeah, starring Imelda, Staunton, Conlith Hill,
Imogen Poots,
Luke Treadaway, and it was phenomenal. Now, we're not far off the nominations for the Olivier's, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw his name mentioned.
Yes, because he has done some fantastic work on that. He was also at one point an associate director at the Royal Court,
yes,
doing pieces such as Escaped Alone and The Children, and am I right in saying that went over to Broadway last year as well?
Yeah, it did. So yeah, lots of success for him. I mean, he directed both of those pieces after his tenure at the Royal Court, but he, his strong ties with that venue. Another great venue, I would say, if new theatre interests you, then you should pop to the Royal Court. It's a really great space.
A vibrant place, always good stuff going on.
Absolutely. Well, as mentioned, we're going to catch you in the main interval for this show. We can't wait to let you know what we think.
We have come to the interval of John here at the Dorfman Space at the National Theatre, which means it is time for the Breaker-Leggers 30-second interval breakdown. Go! What do you think so far?
Yeah, it's good. It's well observed. It's typical Annie Baker. It's absolutely, there's huge silences. It's what would happen in this situation. Sometimes it would just be quiet time, and let's just put that on stage. What about you?
Do you know, I was going to say exactly the same thing. It is exactly the style of writing of Annie Baker. There's one character which is absolutely fantastic. I think it takes a certain type of performer, and this performer, the owner of this guest house, is fantastic. We look forward to seeing. We have come to the end of John here at the Dorfman Space at the National Theatre. All 3 acts. Okay, you go first. How did you find that?
Really well observed. I just think the thing with Annie's writing is that it's a real life situation that is utterly believable and totally relatable in many people's lives. It was a similar thing with The Flick, a mundane day-to-day job, and the kind of, the mundanity of that situation, yet it comes with its own dramas which are relevant at that time to particular people in a particular situation, and it happens across the world day in, day out, and she captures that really well.
Yeah, I think it is really well observed, but the last piece we saw, The Flick, was very much as if we were literally watching what happened. This piece has much more an element of theatricality to it.
Yes,
it's like a piece
dramatic.
of theatre. It's more dramatic. You've got the main character, this lovely lady. What's her character name?
Character name is Myrtis, so they call her Kitty.
Kitty, she opens the curtains for each act. She's in charge of the timekeeping and changing the times, and when she's a bit tipsy, she's like late doing that. And it's just some really nice theatrical touches. And even one of the characters comes coming out and breaking the fourth wall and talking to the audience directly, which is not at all what Annie's done, and yet at times it is very observant, and like it is as if you are watching something as it is happening.
And that's the thing. I mean, yes, there's some of that in Annie's writing, but there's also a huge amount of it in the direction. And James Macdonald has done a great job of pulling out those theatrical moments to make it more of a production. As you said with The Flick, it was a static set. It was like we were eavesdropping on conversations.
Like a little camera, just watching what was going on.
This does have more touches of the theatrical and of a show, and they have been brought to life really beautifully.
Yeah, and it's almost like, what's nice, it's almost like a supernatural undertones to this, which almost also then gives artistic license to do some really creative stuff with the lighting.
Yes.
There's some really nice stuff that was
lighting
really
designer
touches.
Peter Mumford, and do you know what? I feel like it's a big task, because given a box set, which is what this is,
yes,
you know, I think you read the script and the lighting wouldn't jump off the page at you.
No.
Looking at the set, you wouldn't immediately think, okay, there's a lot of lighting opportunity here. But Peter and the director have got together and have come up with some really, I would say, unique ideas.
Yeah, really brought it to life. Like I said, it is just a box set, same as The Flick. I'm not sure what other work Annie has done, whether she likes just single sets. Let us know, comment below. But from what we have seen here at the Dorfman space at the National, it is just the one set. And yet, like I say, brought to life. Cast-wise then,
yes.
Anybody who stood out to you cast-wise?
I particularly liked Tom Mothersdale as Elias. We saw him here in Cleansed, funny enough. He was part of the Cleansed company. Was he?
Which is really...
I don't remember him from that, but in this he was really strong. And to see he only has a limited amount of credits, he's a young actor, but yeah, I thought he was beautiful. He played a real gauntlet of emotion, from kind of geeky, little bit underconfident, to, you know, angry, depressive, manic, and he had a full gauntlet, and I really enjoyed what he did.
Yes, he was very good. I liked him. He's the only male in the company as well. Very small cast. There's only 4 of them. Anybody else that well, I'm going to say who stood out to me. The person who played the main part. Let me see if I can say this correctly. Mary Louise Burke. I was captivated by her performance. For me, she made the show. She was phenomenal. She is in charge of this guest house, this B&B, and there's just so much mystery. I think we were really lucky to be in the front row, and I could see every single nuance of her character, the shifting of the eyes just from one person to the next. And she was in it, just the gloss of the eyes. She was so good.
You are in love with her.
I'm totally in love with her. I love her.
Yes.
I had to stand at the end. I think I was on my own in that. But
you weren't.
But I thought she was absolutely fantastic. Her debut here, and I'm not sure if in the UK, but definitely at the National Theatre.
Yeah, absolutely. She's an American actress. She's got a huge amount of credits, and she's done things that, you know, we've seen UK production of things. She's sort of an Imelda Staunton come Judi Dench type character, really.
Yeah,
and I think she has that sort of presence about her.
Absolutely.
A massive amount of ability and an absolute joy. Felt like a masterclass. I felt I was in the hands of somebody that breathed this, you know. She just breathed.
It's like Annie's writing takes a certain caliber of performer that is just so natural and so just present with their character, and I got this from her. She was fantastic. I would put her up for an award.
Yeah, and also notable.
I don't think I should say anymore.
I mean, all of the cast were great.
There's only 2 more.
Yeah, Annika Rose as Jenny could play emotion really well. You know, there were parts of her performance that just sat in the between, which I was a little bit. That was okay. It was certainly passable.
It was all right.
But whenever she got the opportunity to go from one extreme to the other with her emotion, she came into her own. She actually lit up, and fully believable from despair to hilarity, and I loved those extremes, that sort of roller coaster.
In the second act, she had some really nice, juicy stuff.
Yeah, a bit of beef.
And also being up close, you know, I could see that it was real and she was living those moments and, you know, she was presenting those in touch. It's coming down.
And last but by no means least,
what a part!
What a part! June Watson playing Genevieve, the blind friend of the guest house owner, and wow, I mean, to play a blind character believably, but actually the way that's written, her character, the way it's written, she's landed on her feet with that role.
It's a brilliant part.
It's almost a great part.
It's half observer, and yet when she does speak, it's fantastic.
Yeah, and hilarious and dry and just beautifully delivered. I've got to say, it was all in the timing from her, and she was fantastic.
She has a fantastic 5-minute speech, and that's all I want to say.
Yeah.
It is a fantastic 5-minute speech presented so well. I loved her. The cast of 4 were great.
Yeah, it's difficult to sum up what the play was about overall. It is literally just a drama that happens in a particular place and a particular time and of a particular observation, and that has been brought to life beautifully and was, you know, I've got to admit that for me the last act felt long, like just a marginally long. And it is a long piece, but that again, that's Annie. You know, that's the writer. I could have happily have shaved out a little bit of the silences and just to push it along and drive it when we were coming to the climax of the story. Also, one thing I wanted to mention is that there is a plot and there is a revelation at the end of the piece that it's sort of gearing up to, especially in Act 3.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd have been writing this, if I'd have left that blank, if I maybe wouldn't have had a reveal and I'd have left the audience wondering what happens now. It was a little bit neat. I found it a little bit tied up too well at the end.
Okay, I didn't mind the end. Hopefully, if you get to see it, then let us think what let us know what you think. I liked it. It kind of put that little button on the end that I kind of thought. So I didn't mind it. You're saying different.
Yeah.
In terms of plot, there is no real driving plot. It's not like a 12 Angry Men, or I'm trying to think where there's a complete start, middle, and end. You know, you are kind of given
it's a little bit loose, isn't
little
it?
bits. And I don't know if you don't come to London too often and you're thinking, oh, let's come and see a play, and you want something riveting, and I'm not quite sure how it would be interpreted.
No.
I mean, I think for me, as someone who sees a lot of theatre, this kind of style is quite refreshing. It's something a bit different, but I'm not sure if it would be for everyone.
Yeah, it's not atypical as a play.
No.
You know, it is a little bit sort of. It's almost vignette-y in a little bit of a way, isn't it? It's almost pieces of story sort of tied together in a roughly chronological order to tell a fuller picture. It's a bit of a jigsaw. It's a bit of a jigsaw where the pieces aren't all there sometimes.
Yeah, and yet it's very complete. And it's very complete and very obvious. I just really liked how it developed, and the relationships that you introduced to. I was kind of like, why would you do it? I wouldn't be doing that. I wouldn't be with that person. And as it went on, it's like, oh, okay, now that makes sense now. Just really beautiful writing. I think Annie is a very clever writer, and I felt that in the text this time. Some beautiful, eloquent. There's a part when the main character, Kitty, was just talking about birds and the names
collective
given.
Nouns for birds groups.
And that's all it was, and yet it was delivered
3 minutes
so
of that.
well. I loved that moment. Some fantastic writing.
There is some fantastic
Anyway, I guess you are probably wondering how many legs we are going to give this piece.
Well, for John, playing at the Dorfman space here at the National Theatre, we are going to give...
4 legs!
Yeah, definitely worth seeing. I'm going to be anticipating the next time Annie has something in the UK, and we're going to be getting tickets. I think that's fair to say. Like I say, for me, a little bit long at the end. I don't know whether I'd have tied things up so neatly in the writing, but performance and production, brilliant.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure where the difference is between the 4 and the 5, because I personally really enjoyed it, and I do like those moments of silence, and when the text is strong, and when it almost gives a bit of a roller coaster. You have the quiet moments, then you have this real gripping text, and there's real strong gripping moments and tense moments, and I was quite tense. It was almost like sitting through The Woman in Black when I was waiting for something to happen, although, you know, nothing really did, because you've got these undercurrents. I was just a bit on the edge.
I think it's an important acknowledgement that the four legs is to state that this isn't for everybody. You know, we have said that this is not for everybody. But those that like that sort of thing are going to love it, and those that don't aren't.
And also, because it is so naturalistic, we were on the front row. I feel as if we got a lot. I'm not sure how far that would carry. The Dorfman is a lovely, intimate
it's not
space.
A huge theatre.
It's not huge anyway, so you're pretty close to everything. But I don't know, because I wasn't further back, but I did feel very part of it, and I feel that made it all that bit extra special.
It's an experience. Anyway, that's what we thought. What did you think? Leave us a comment if you're coming along to see John. I think it's mostly sold out, but use day seat opportunities.
Yes.
And Friday rush. So head to the National Theatre website and see how you can grab a ticket. We're the Breaker Leggers,
and we'll catch you again soon. Bye.